Hosting this panel. I mean, the guests here are really the true experts in the field. I'm a family doc. I got none of this training through my medical school. I'm kind of like y'all. I'm just a constant student of it all and learning, reading, but more importantly, just really experimenting on myself. You know, I'll read it, but I don't understand that, so I'll try to constantly learn. And as y'all were out there with my workshops in the last couple days, we're all just trying to feel and learn things. So I'm going to go ahead and introduce our panel. And it's in your packet is a full, you know, the full bios of them all, but I'm sitting right to my left here is Danny Abshire. He needs no introduction. Danny Abshire's passion for natural running started, you know, 15 plus years ago as he started to have thoughts of making a level shoe, was tinkering with things in his own Pedorthus workshop, started coaching people in proper running form before it became trendy or popular. He's written a book, Natural Running, built a running shoe company. I mean, you could go on and on. But he's really been, you know, probably the lead in the field of footwear development and natural running. Was the first shoe company to be built purely on an education principle. That's why I called Danny in 2009, you know, and said, gosh, I'd like to somehow be able to contribute or help you out from the medical side as a family doc. You know, if you need any support of what you're doing, give me a call and I'll help and say, you know, what he's doing is true. Blaise Duboise, it's a privilege to have Blaise here. So Blaise came to the U.S. in January of this year to do his first conference. He has a 3-day conference, which if an hour today gave you just a tease, come to his 3-day conference. And we've done 2 now in Shepherdstown, West Virginia, and have brought in a lot of leaders in running medicine to his conference. And I've learned a ton from Blaise. And to have, he's flying to Hong Kong after this. He's basically the globetrotter of natural running right now, teaching it all over the place. I mean, on every continent, I think, other than Antarctica, he's taught this conference. And you know, you saw his level of knowledge. Next to Blaise is Pete Larson. And many of y'all in this room have read Pete's blog, runblogger.com. But Pete is a true scientist of running. His background is more in animal science, but now he's gone into, his degrees are also in exercise physiology, but he's a professor of biology and has been working on running mechanics, trying to do all the research, do his own research, try to translate all the research that's out there for the lay public in his blog. So if you haven't gone to Pete's blog, go to it. It's basically, you know, several volumes of textbook, you know, right there. And Pete produced, we're going to send out to you all on email, he produced a document on what you saw Blaise give there, but it has all of these questions and all the studies in a document. So if you couldn't take all the notes, the document we're going to share after this has a lot of the information. Next to Pete is Heather Fuhr, and Heather Fuhr is one of the champion triathletes of the world, has had 15 Ironman championships, and now is currently sustaining her running as an ultra-marathoner, is a champion ultra-marathoner and doing 50-mile runs. And you know, she could go out there and right now probably run up Flagstaff 4 times and come back for lunch and still look pretty fresh. So we'll learn a lot about sustainability from Heather. Next to Heather is Dr. Ivo Wealop. Wealop, is that I pronounce that correctly? So Ivo's another kind of student and teacher of gait. Probably in the world, if you go to Ivo's sites, him and Sean Allen, they're tagged the gait guys. But they've done more clinical work, more writing, more video analysis than probably anyone out there in this field. And when you go to their site, they get it at a level that is like, wow, these guys get it. They can look at someone's gait, break down, not just look at what is happening, but be able to tell you why it's happening. And I think that's what's important. So hopefully just in this panel, you know, Ivo can give us some clues what we can look at in someone and what we can correct. And certainly on the end of the table, needs no introduction, is Frank Shorter, Olympic gold medalist, Sullivan Award winner, champion of almost everything. Still, yeah. And you know, his passion, I mean, Boulder probably wouldn't be what it is without Frank Shorter. So, you know, it's a privilege to have Frank. And I heard Frank speak last year at UVA's Running Medicine Conference, and he spoke for 2 hours without a single note, really just telling his story. And he has, you know, he's become his own experiment, has learned everything. He was his own coach. So some of the things Frank shared there, I'm going to ask him about today, and because that's the textbook. You know, I think by Frank, myself, and anyone who's had a career longevity in running, you know, a phrase goes something like this. You know, the man's mistakes are his portals of discovery. So I've made a lot of mistakes, probably almost all of them. Yeah, still will make more, and I'm still discovering more. So I think my first question, I'm going to ask the panelists to just, try to keep this really, I'm going to probably throw a shoe at someone if they go more than a minute, or maybe we'll have a card, because we want to really be able to cover a lot of ground here. Then we're going to open it up to questions from the audience, and because you guys, with the questions you have, are going to really kind of close this in. But I think my first question, I just want everyone to answer this. This is about sustainability. But for Danny, the first question is, why do you run?
Why do I run?
Why do you run? Why do we run?
Why do we run? Well, I think we run basically as it's kind of an instinctive thing. If you really get out there and just enjoy the true freedom and of natural movement, then it is very fun. Running should be very relaxing, and it should be fun. And that's the basis of the way I view it.
To don't depress, to eat more, and no, seriously, it's just for my health. And I'm very active since I'm very young, and I try to motivate my kids to be active, just to be healthy when they will be adult.
I'm probably an unusual one here in that I've only been really running seriously for about 4 years. I mean, I've run my whole life on and off playing sports and whatnot, but usually it was just essentially to lose weight so I could eat more, like you said. And over the past 4 years, I've really grown to love the sport, and I've kind of gone crazy and it's subsumed my life. So, but yeah, that's, initially why I run, probably the same reason a lot of people show up at your stores, is just to get healthy.
I think, I've been running for pretty much my whole life, and for me it's something that I just love to do, and for me to go out and go for a run, there's nothing like it. I can solve all the world's problems when I'm out there running, and it's my way to just sort of escape and go out there and do something that I really enjoy, and obviously, as these guys said, the health benefit is there as well. So it's just, it's something that just, for me, is an escape and a way to just go out and really enjoy being out there with nature and just having a great time.
I run for stress management mostly. Got a pretty busy practice and a family and 2 very young boys. But I run basically to stay healthy, just like everybody else. It's my one chance to get out, unplug from everybody else. I don't have a phone, nobody can reach me, nobody can call me. It's my time to kind of be with me and commune with nature.
Yeah, I actually started out running because I found out I simply loved the movement, just the moving across the ground in that fashion, just the feeling it always gave me. And then as I got older, it also became part of the stress relief that you referred to. But I think that's an important point, since I'm the last one, we go on to other subjects here, to try to relate back to what was being talked about before. I think for people like me, I was very lucky, because since I just enjoyed being out there moving across the ground, and it was so important for me to be able to stay out there, that I developed sort of an intuitive ability to stay within those adaptive curves that people talked about before. And I think that's one of the subjects maybe we can get into, is just the misconception about how people go too hard when they're going easy and too easy when they're going hard, which keeps you in those between those 2 adaptive curves. But again, it was just, I just wanted to be a ski racer, ran to train. I was running to and from school. The Kenyans don't have a monopoly on this. And quite honestly, as it'll come out, there's some stories that are going to come out in the future. I was running from something when people ask, what are you running from? And I was. But I'm 160 to 70,000 miles, and I'm still out there. So that's where we are. Still loving it just as much every day.
Actually, when we talk about sustainable running, there has to be a reason why we run, and to connect that with whoever it is, it's probably something unique to that person, but kind of a follow-on question, because everyone would answer this one a little bit differently. But we'll just pass this one down the line too. But what happens when you can't run? How do you feel? We'll start with Danny.